Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Michael and you're watching Kini News. The strained ties between PKR President Anwar Ibrahim and his deputy Azmin Ali is now being tested once again. 22 BN MPs held a meeting with Azmin, and what's worse, nobody outside of the meeting seems to know what Azmin is up to. More than 22 BN MPs gathered at Economic Affairs Minister Azmin Ali's official residence in Precinct 10, Putrajaya, for a meeting that lasted 2 hours on Monday night. Hours after Azmin came out in support of Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad following the coalition's devastating defeat in Tanjung Pi. PKR President Anwar Ibrahim said Azmin owes the party an explanation.
Gejala ini memang menimbulkan banyak persoalan oleh rakan-rakan, jadi sepatut beliau beri penjelasan.
Perlulah beliau memang perlu hadir untuk meeting biro politik.
Ya begitu, sepatutnya Timbalan Presiden wajib hadir.
Datuk Sri, adakah itu atas kapasiti parti atau?
Saya tidak tahu, sebab itu saya minta lebih baik bagi penjelasan. Kalau atas kapasiti parti ataupun kerajaan, mengapa ahli parlimen tidak diundang?
And Anwar isn't the only one in the dark.
Sri, bila ulang berkenaan pertemuan Datuk Seri Azmin dengan sejumlah MP pembangkang?
Saya tak tahu. Saya baca berita yang awak semua laporkan saja. Jadi saya tak tahu apa cerita sebenarnya.
Pertemuan Datuk Seri Azmin dengan 18 MP pembangkang semua.
Oh, eloklah dia pergi tengok dia mesyuarat kan. Nak mesyuarat ke ni apa mesyuarat biro politik.
Okay,
thank you.
The meeting comes after Azmin was speculated to be working with former UMNO Vice President Hishamuddin Hussain to gather MPs to block Anwar's rise. When met at the Parliament lobby this evening, Azmin downplayed his meeting with BN lawmakers, saying it was nothing extraordinary.
Every day I have meetings, I have lots of meetings every day from early morning until late hours. But different people, different group, ada politician, ada MPs, ada business leaders, ada foreign investors. That is the job of the ministry. I have to meet people.
He may no longer be the chairperson of Barisan Nasional, but Najib Abdul Razak is still BN Advisory Board chairperson. That means he still gives out advice. Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak has reminded BN parliamentarians to focus on championing the interests of the Rakyat instead of getting involved in Pakatan Harapan's leadership problems. Najib said Harapan's issue was their problem and should be left to the ruling coalition to solve their own issue. Najib was commenting on the meeting held at the official residence of Azmin Ali last night, involving over 22 BN MPs. When asked by reporters when met at the Jalan Duta Court complex on whether he knew about the meeting, Najib replied in the positive but stated that he was not invited and doesn't wish to be invited. However, according to UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, the meeting was merely to discuss the channeling of government projects to their various constituencies. Though he added the meeting was carried out in a manner which contravened previous advice given by opposition leader in Parliament Ismail Sabri Yaakob, which led many parties to speculate as to its objective. Dr. Mahathir experienced a minor health scare during a press conference today, but we're happy to report that the Prime Minister is in good health.
Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad suffered a minor nosebleed at a press conference today but remains to be in good health, according to officers from the Prime Minister's office. His office also denied news that he was rushed off to seek treatment. Dr. Mahathir had spoken at a joint press conference with Primary Industries Minister Teresa Kok after launching the Malaysian Palm Oil Board International Palm Oil Congress and Exhibition at the Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre. As he was taking questions from reporters on palm oil-related issues, Dr. Mahathir was seen wiping his nose several times with a handkerchief. The press conference only went on for about 4 minutes before it was ended by Dr. Mahathir.
The charges are now stacking up against former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak with the start of his third criminal trial.
Former Chief Secretary to the government Ali Hamza told the High Court in Kuala Lumpur today that former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak had instructed for a meeting to be held to discuss removing certain portions of the 1MDB audit report. Ali, who served as the Chief Secretary to the government from 2012 to August 2018, was called as a prosecution witness. Najib claimed trial to receiving gratification in the form of protection from ethical, civil or criminal actions against him as a public officer in relation to 1MDB by ordering the alteration of the final audit report before it was presented to the Public Accounts Committee or PAC. Najib stands to face a maximum of 20 years jail or a fine of 10,000 ringgit if convicted.
Did Chinese voters in Tanjung Piai choose to abandon harapan because of how the ruling coalition has been handling the Tunku Abdul Rahman University College TAR UC issue? Some definitely think so, but not Lim Guan Eng.
Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said that the Tunku Abdul Rahman University College or TAR UC issue was not the sole reason why the Chinese voters swung back to Barisan Nasional during the Tanjung Piai by-election. Though he accused BN and MCA of exploiting the issue for the sake of victory, he said that the ball is ultimately in MCA's court if the issue is to be resolved.
The money is already available, provided that MCA gives up its political control of TAR UC, and that once they give up, the money will be available, and this will be at least 30 million ringgit annually. So I think that has been the position of the federal government.
When pressed further on whether Harapan has made a mistake in its handling of the TAR UC issue, Lim did not seem to be amused.
So saya rasa, I never said that. You're putting words into my mouth again.
Lim's comments came after Deputy Education Minister Teo Nie Ching admitted that the TAR UC issue was among the reasons why the Chinese voters swung back to Barisan Nasional last Saturday.
Entrepreneur Development Minister Muhammad Redzuan Yusof said Malaysia's first flying car will be tested on Thursday, but if you want to attend, you'll need an exclusive invitation.
I cannot disclose because it's a private invitation. You can always ask. You know your lead. You can always ask the private sectors where it will be. No, we cannot do that because it's undermined their position, because they are now talking about purchase order intent from ASEAN countries. So it cannot be speculated as such. For example, if I bring you in for unknown reason, it does not fly, that will affect.
Even media won't be allowed to cover the event on Thursday. According to the minister, however, it may be documented by the ministry's own team. Coming up next, even campuses have transformed into battlegrounds as protesters and police continue to clash in Hong Kong. But is the storm finally over? In Malaysia, we're familiar with the haze, and now Sydney is no stranger to it, as hazardous smoke blankets the city. Have you ever wanted a pocong or Indomie figurine? Now someone is making them. That and more up next. The standoff between hundreds of trapped protesters and the police in a university in Hong Kong came to an end on Tuesday, but not without the police making arrests.
Hundreds of protesters were trapped in the Polytechnic University in Hong Kong for more than 48 hours, many of them high school students. The standoff started on Sunday as police demanded protesters who gathered inside the university to leave the campus so they can be arrested. Most of them refused and holed up in buildings. Outside the university, thousands of enraged citizens continued to clash with the police on Sunday night. Parents of the protesters, worried and moved to tears, asked to see their children who were encircled in the campus.
佢覺得佢哋自己冇問題，所有問題就係佢哋將所有小朋友、所有後生、所有出嚟嘅人都叫做暴徒，好恐怖。
Some protesters were seen abseiling from a pedestrian bridge and were driven away by supporters. As the situation worsened, more than 40 high school headmasters and some politicians negotiated with the police and were allowed into the campus to persuade the students. By Monday night, more than 100 had decided to leave, but not without being stopped by the others. On Tuesday, Hong Kong's embedded leader Carrie Lam said she hopes that the standoff can be resolved peacefully.
Both arrested or those recorded and allowed to go home without being arrested. By this I mean those under the age of 18, and we have about 200 of these under 18 who have come out of the campus and have been dealt with in a humanitarian manner.
Universities have become main battlegrounds between protesters and police. Last Wednesday, violent clashes also took place between protesters and police at the Chinese University of Hong Kong.
Haze from widespread bushfires is choking Sydney, home to around 5 million people who have been advised to stay indoors.
Strong winds stoked more than 100 fires across Australia's east coast on Tuesday, blanketing Sydney in hazardous smoke and prompting health warnings for the country's most populous city. Australia is prone to bushfires in its dry, hot summers, but fierce blazes have been sparked early in the southern spring by a long drought and soaring temperatures. Wildfires have so far this month claimed at least 4 lives, burnt about 2.5 million acres of farmland and bush, and destroyed more than 300 homes. Officials said that the air quality above parts of the harbour city was measured at 10 times the hazardous level on Tuesday and advised people to stay indoors as much as possible as the smoke lingers over the coming days.
The world's first electric racing plane made its debut recently at the 2019 Dubai Air Show, making another step forward in the global aviation industry's exploration of greener energy.
The prototype of the world's first electric racing plane will enable the aircraft, called White Lightning, to race at speeds of up to 300 miles per hour. It was released at the Air Race E, a pioneering electric air racing tournament funded by Airbus.
We believe that electrification is a key milestone in decarbonizing our industry, and by nurturing this race, basically, we help building an ecosystem with new technologies to be developed that can then later on be scaled up for our urban air mobility business or even for our bigger commercial airplanes.
The White Lightning aircraft will be manufactured by UK-based Condor Aviation, and the team expects to have the model in the air by early next year.
And here are several other news highlights from today. And that is all from us today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching. But before we go, we leave you with some interesting visuals of Asian cultural icons and characters turned into pocketable figurines by an Indonesian toy maker. Everything from hantu pocong to Indomie. He's got it.